Good evening, everybody. Who we have here now? Sup, Arion? How you doing, mate? I feel like we need just a little bit of music in the background just while we're getting started. Sorry, I don't have a starting screen at the moment because I'm between machines. Look at this fancy setup. Oh, thank you very much, my dude. Let's get some elevator music going just for a sec while I set up the title. Excuse me. I'm not too bad, my dude. I'm not too bad. How's work treating you? So I just need to set up the talk show and podcast's title for game, and we are good to go. Yeah, pretty good, getting some real nice goodies next week, so I can't complain. Attaboy. That's what I like to hear. Okay. What else we got in chat at the moment? I saw Gamma there a second ago. How you doing, Gamma? Straight Jacket sitting in chat. Zulu sitting in chat. Alright, let's get this show underway, shall we? Let's just minimize that to absolutely nothing. Get some music going in a bit. Alright. Sorry, it's a little bit dishevelled at the moment, but we're getting there. Happy Hump Day, everyone, and welcome to the Game on Oz podcast, episode 159. I'm, of course, your resident podcast stand-in Reflex and Game on Oz Game on Oz tournament manager and all-round round guy, Reflex. Tonight I'm joined by a few of us. Let me just restart that. Tonight I'm joined by a few of us, including one of the new fish, Straight Jacket Jim. Not sure if it's Straight Jacket Jim or if it's Straight Jacked Jim. Either way, you're visiting some kind of hospital if you cross the guy. Take a bow, my dude. Welcome.
Hey, how are you going?
Excellent. Nice to have you with us in Perth. What's the weather like out there at the moment?
Hot.
Yeah, I bet.
Freaking hot. 40 degrees the last couple of days.
Oh, bloody hell. I mean, we're barely cracking 23 and it's hot enough for me, so I'm good.
Oh, that's heaven.
Yeah,
Heaven.
I know, right? Alright, and along with your boy Jim, we also have Zulu with some coverage on the recently released Warcraft 3 Reforged. That's a mouthful. Say hello, Zulu. How you doing?
Hey everyone, how are we going? I am good, and I'm going to talk to you about Warcraft 3 Reforged and Fallout, because I'm a gigantic Fallout nerd and I'll have the microphone.
Good man, good man. That's what we want. Fill those slots. Who else we got? We have our resident ham sandwich, Menthonso, with some sneaky news. Menthonso, take a bow.
Got to keep in mind that ham sandwich has to have pickles on it.
Oh, you goddamn right. Try not to bow too far and let that mayo slip out, boy.
Good evening, everyone.
Awesome. And of course, we are joined by the lovely team mother, Skittles, to remind us about a couple of events coming up soon and to congratulate a community that we have both supported in and around and announce a giveaway. Skittles, say hello.
Hello.
Welcome. And of course, myself, I have an announcement to make as well, but will not have... it'll be last. It'll be one of the end things we're going to be doing. So
you have to stick around till then?
Well, not end. It'll be before the outro, but yeah, for sure. So let's get kicked off with your boy Straight Jack Jim. What have you got for us?
I'm just going to go on the record right now. It's Straight Jack at Jim, not Straight Jack Jim, as Pete said on the podcast last week.
I told you, Skittles. Wait, what did you say? Did you?
Hey, it doesn't worry me, man. I go with the flow.
I'm from New Zealand. Your accent's different to mine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm just going to call you Jim.
Yeah, keep it simple.
Welcome, Jim. What have you got for us tonight?
I don't have a lot. I did notice today there was some offshoots from I think it was old BioWare that formed a new studio, which I'm a little bit excited about because I quite like all the old BioWare games, and in particular, bit of a Mass Effect fan. So I'm quite excited to see what they can come up with. But yeah, not too much more than that. Sorry, I had a busy day at work and didn't have a chance to research too much.
No, that's fair enough. That's all right. So I've just had a... what do we got here? Does he read chat? I do read chat. If you have something there for us, yell it out and we'll get something out for you. So that's cool. So you're looking forward to the new studio that's coming out?
Yeah, just see what they can come up with.
Yeah, nice. It's always good to hear news about a new studio, especially an offshoot of a bigger studio, see what they've got. Definitely a couple have come out in the past from offshoots, and boy, some of those
Correct me if I'm wrong, didn't BioWare do Knights of the Old Republic?
Yes, they did that as well, sorry.
Ooh, that could be interesting, because they could be...
Does
If
the
EA lets them get away with it.
Yeah, I was going to say, do they have rights to the IP for it, or is that still with the other guys?
Oh, I mean, if they did Knights of the Old Republic, it means they did the Old Republic, the MMO, which means they would kind of technically still have rights to it.
Okay.
But it could be a separate IP. I don't know.
Interesting. Oh, that's all right. Cool. All right, well, looking forward to that. All right, well, if you're done then, we'll move on to... Ooh, Zulu sounded like he was pretty excited to steal that mic out of here and get some info out to us.
It's an important and popular fact that letting me have a microphone is a very, very dangerous thing, as you're all about to find out.
All right, allow me to hit be right back and be back in it. No, I'm kidding. Go for it, man. What have you got?
All right, I'm going to start with talking about Warcraft 3 Reforged. Now, I'm going to start right now because I am the God Emperor of controversial opinions. And my controversial opinion on this is I actually rather liked it. And I know this is going to make people gasp in horror. There will be monocles falling to the floor and people fainting from the shock. But as someone who's not deeply invested in all the Blizzard lore, even though I like their games, as a straight-up remaster of a classic RTS, I thought it did what it did very well. It looks nice, it plays well, it looks good, and it's a chance to play one of those classic games. I mean, it's 18 years old now. I mean, it could legally gamble, and buy booze and get a gun license, but ideally not in that order, but the option's there. And it takes, most of those games from 20-odd years ago are basically a bit crap now. There's a whole awkward era from about 2000 to 2005 when the graphics just haven't held up in its Polygon City.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, that's fair.
It is really nice to see Blizzard taking it. They've already got a timeless art style, but you look back, when you look at a before and after picture, you have this fond memories of how the game looked in 2002. And it's sort of Lara Croft level polygons everywhere. So at the time, you remember in cutting edge because it was, but now doesn't hold up. So when you look at a remaster, they've put it in beautiful, glorious 4K. They've tweaked the art style so it just seems a bit more current. So you're not screaming, "My eyes, the goggles, they do nothing" when you boot the game up. But they've left the classic controls there. So if you want to roll old school, the option's there for you. If you want to come in with like a classic, I know how an RTS works, it'll do it. It's great. I just have to say, even though I can see that there are some flaws, it's not perfect, and I understand why so many people are looking for reasons to be very angry at Blizzard, I'm not one of them, and I think it's a perfectly decent remaster.
Yeah, and I totally agree. I pre-ordered it. I, in fact... gifted it to a friend and also Nico from the channel so we could all play at some point. And yeah, man, I enjoy the Warcraft lore. I enjoy the story behind it, but at the same time, I mean, it's only a game. Why you have to be so mad? Like, it's great. I enjoyed it. And the fact that you can go back to the old school style and art as well is also an option, which is also, it's a nice touch. I don't see what all the hate's about, really. Yeah, I
mean, look, I was at BlizzCon in 2018 when they announced it. So, and admittedly, like, what I was watching on the screens there, I'm going, wow, that looks amazing. And I got the chance to play, like, a super-duper early preview build. Mm-hmm. The gameplay was the same. So the super-duper preview build and the game I reviewed recently were the same thing. I was very happy with them. But some of the cutscenes that were sort of promising full-on, almost Overwatch, short film level quality. Yeah. And instead we sort of got upscaling. So I can see why people might be a bit miffed about that, but it's not the sort of thing that makes me want to throw a monumental tantrum and demand that they refund the $0 I paid for my review copy of the game.
Yeah, exactly. It's I too. I can see why people would be a bit miffed, but really, I mean, for what they wanted to do, for what they, what people were expecting with Overwatch level stuff, you got to keep in mind that they're running the same engine from, 18 years ago, just with a couple of modifications here and there for widescreen, and also, a couple of other bits and pieces, like, the new Battle.net integration and whatnot. So, yeah, I can see why people would be upset, but really, it's fine. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, but it is. But also, if you do an interesting comparison, if you look at Age of Empires 2 Definitive Edition, which Microsoft put out recently, it's exactly the same principle. It's, they've basically tweaked the graphics and gone, here's a 20-year-old game with nice shiny graphics, and everybody, me included, said this is really good and amazing and fun. No one was getting angry and screaming at them about it because,
Excuse me.
That's a valid guy. I guess the question is why, but I just looked and thought that these are both basically different companies doing the same thing, and the results are great. I mean, I was there the first time, and it's nice to be able to go back and play them again on a decent computer and show my kids them. Like, my son loves Warcraft 3 Reforged. He just thinks it's amazing. He can basically play sim base and build a little medieval village full of stuff and then wonder why he keeps running out of lumber.
Absolutely. And so we've just had a question in chat from Arion. So is it worth getting Warcraft 3 Reforged? Personally, yes, I think so. If you're not going to go into it with the whole mindset of, this isn't what was promised, blah, 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 if you want to play it just for the sheer fact that it's a Warcraft 3 game, or the fact that it is Warcraft 3 with prettier graphics, then by all means, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, if you missed it the first time round and you want to know what a classic RTS was like, but without dealing with the horrible, well, not horrible, but the dated graphics, absolutely get it. The gameplay is solid, the gameplay is the same. All the stuff that made it a hit the first time around is still there.
Yeah.
So if you've been wanting to get into RTS games, it's a really good place to start to. There's a reason it's a classic.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, thanks for that. It's great. And it's drummed up a bit of interest in chat, which is awesome. Aaron says,
Yes.
I've never touched a Warcraft title apart from WoW. Dude,
That's what makes this one so interesting. Because this is really because people forget Warcraft kicked off as a series of real-time strategy games. And if I can put on my tweed jacket with its leather patches and light a pipe and get some whiskey and start talking about the past at people, the original Warcraft game, was real-time strategy, came out about the same time as Command and Conquer. And I freely admit I was Team Command and Conquer all the way. But the stories behind that were always quite interesting, but you look at what Blizzard were doing with what was essentially a genre at the time of build a lot of units and then, go and fight some other people, and they turned it into this big epic thing that went from one game to a sequel, then Warcraft 3, that was the beginning of this big epic story that basically all the Blizzard lore that people froth over started in Warcraft 3, and then it rolled into World of Warcraft, which kicked off in 2004. And it just has steamrolled from there. But if you really want to get a handle on all that Blizzard lore that people keep going on about, Warcraft 3 is where you need to start.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Because, I've played 1 and 2, and they don't go too far back into the whole lore stuff. That's more what the books are for. But Warcraft 3 being, able to play that kind of stuff and actually play in-game cutscenes that would give you not necessarily live action, but, would be able to narrate stuff for you, then definitely, if you don't want to read the books and you're interested, then start with Warcraft 3 and work your way up. It's fantastic.
I mean, I was, again, at BlizzCon a couple of years ago, and there were one of the senior people at the company was, very, very senior, was saying on stage that people keep asking for a Warcraft 1 remaster, and they went back and they found the OG files. I assume they were in a locked filing cabinet in a disused lavatory somewhere with a sign on the door saying "Beware of the leopard." But they found them. And they went there and they dug them out and they blew the dust off them and worked their magic, and they got them running on a modern computer. And they realized that while the game was amazing back in 1994 or 6, whenever it came out, it was basically crap now, not because there's anything wrong with the game, but because the genre and the industry had moved so far beyond it. It would be one of those things that everybody. That's what spawned that famous comment. You think you want it, but you don't.
Yeah.
And people would, in this case, I think they were right. You would go back at the original Warcraft and go, well, this was pointless. But Warcraft 3, they looked at it and said, we can do something with this. We can make the game that people think that they want us to do, and I think they've done it.
Cool. Yeah, by all means. I mean,
you quite often forget where things were back then and how far it's come with every iteration of new games that have come out and built on that. And you realise that you go back and you play that game that you thought was awesome at the time, and it's not so awesome anymore.
I think the term for that is rose-tinted glasses, isn't it? Like
that's exactly it.
You hear big news about something new coming out. I mean, for example, like I went back and tried to play Grand Theft Auto 3, the OG Grand Theft Auto 3, after playing San Andreas, and like, well, not even just San Andreas, like all the later stuff. It's like things you just take for granted, like the ability to shoot someone through the windscreen of a car. You can't do that in 3. It's like, well, cool. That's neat, and like you just kind of miss those kind of things. And then playing them today, it's like, man, I remember when I was at school and playing this, and it was the greatest thing ever. Now it's like, dude, what is this?
Exactly, because technology moves on. I mean, unlike movies, games are one of the few areas where sequels are usually better than the originals. I know there's some exceptions to that, but generally, the developers take what they've learned in previous games and then improve it incrementally. Until, as you say, 10 years later, you go back to the first game in the series and go, what the hell is this? How did I ever think this was the most amazing thing at the time? And it was at the time because there wasn't anything better. You can see it now because you're playing the better version.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I mean, I'll always have a special place in my heart for old school games like Warcraft 1 and 2, and the Grand Theft Autos, and even StarCraft and Age of Empires and all those kind of things I grew up on. But there's just things you can't get.
Yeah, one of my very favourite games of all time ever is Jagged Alliance 2, which is one of those games that came out in mid-1990s, and it's just one of those games I just feel is almost perfect in every way, and it still holds up today. The writing, the graphics, the gameplay, it is all perfect. And people keep trying to remake it, and they keep smegging it up. It is one of the few games where they'd be better off just taking the old game, putting it in a Blu-ray disc, upgrading the graphics to 4K, and then basically sitting back and letting the cash roll in.
Yeah, and some companies do that, so we'll see. But no, awesome. Well, thank you very much for that. That's brilliant. Now, I understand you have some Fallout news for us.
I do have Fallout news, and again,
topic for GOA.
Yes, absolutely, and I'm going to talk about it at length again because I love Fallout, like all of the Fallouts, except for Fallout 76, which is one of the most terrible, saddening Fallout games I've ever played.
I disagree. I rated it 95%.
The good news, Fallout, as I'm sure many of you who are listening know, and for those of you who don't, has primarily been a single-player role-playing game experience. And the whole point of it has been that it's you and the great story and the quirky humor and the great setting, and there were no other people there to get in the way of whatever you were wanting to do. Mm-hmm. Fallout 76 went, I think, too far in the let's get some other people involved in this direction. You ended up going from awesome single-player experience to there are no NPCs in this game at all. So what we've got now is Bethesda announcing that on April 7, they are releasing the Wastelanders expansion for Fallout 76. And this is a free expansion, they tell me, that will put in NPCs, dialogue trees, and a revamped main quest and what appears to be an entirely new quest. So it looks a hell of a lot to me like they're basically hitting the reset button and turning the game into what people like me wanted the first time round.
Quick question. Now, only not that I'm doubting you when you say free, but having seen Bethesda's performance in the last, year and a bit or so, free at what cost? What do you think they'll turn around and go, yeah, we said free, but, and then, like, for example, the subscription system that they've released and, like, later on, like, what was... Do you think they'll have the audacity to pull something like that, or do you think it's genuinely going to be, yeah, okay, we know we missed a few bits and pieces here and there. Here you go. Here's what you actually wanted in the beginning.
My gut feeling is they've taken such a savage mauling on Fallout 76, and in my personal opinion, rightly so.
Yes, thank you. I'll drink to that.
They're in the sort of damage control mode that's sort of previously associated with battleships that are under fire. Mm-hmm. So I think in this case, they're probably genuine in their offer to say, It's free. Here's the game you wanted in 2018. Now, obviously, you haven't had a chance to play it. I haven't had a chance to see a preview for it or anything. But based on what they've said, it looks like they're realizing the game people want is basically Elder Scrolls Online, but in the Fallout universe. And if that's the game they've released in 2018, I think we'd all agree that shut up and take my money would be the correct response. So whether or not there's something else down the track or there's a catch, I don't know, but I think this will be a genuine effort. And I know they're making a genuine effort to basically sort out some of the issues they've had in the past. Like, I think we can all admit that until fairly recently, some of the games Bethesda put out last year were not the most stellar example of the game developer's craft. I'm looking at you, Wolfenstein Youngblood.
Oh, God. That was disappointing.
20 gets us nowhere.
But if we have a look at what they're doing with Fallout 76, and I've been playing the previews of Doom Eternal, and it looks really, 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 really good. Like OG, 2016 Doom. My God, this is amazing good. So if the final game is as good as the previews, and I have no reason to believe it won't be, that is going to, I think, be a huge success for them. And if they can back that up with giving people the Fallout 76 experience they wanted the first time round, that puts them in a really good position rolling into E3 to start the sort of narrative of, basically an arc of redemption, coming up with some stuff, saying to people, we made some mistakes, we were wrong, thank you for being on this journey, here's the good stuff, let's get it right again.
Yep. No, it is something they need to do, absolutely. One thing I'm worried about, though, is I'm not playing the devil's advocate here, on purpose, but...
No, of course not.
Is it too little too late, really? Like, I mean, it's all well and good to give us what we want now and finally start listening, but, there's only so much people can take before, there's always going to be people that are going to bend over backwards to them going, oh, Bethesda is love, Bethesda is life, this is what we're going to do for them. We'll listen to everything Tim says, blah, 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 whatever. But then there's people like me who are like, well, I don't really play Bethesda games that much, bar, FPSs. And Fallout 76, I have no incentive to get into it based on all the hate that I've heard. Is this going to be what I'm going to hear for me to finally go, oh, yeah, all right, I'll give it a go and go for it? Or is it just, as I said, too little too late?
Well, that's a very good question and an important discussion topic. I mean, I think it's well known Bethesda's fans are pretty forgiving. And I have to admit, I generally like most of the stuff Bethesda does because I like single-player games, and they are one of the few companies, besides Ubisoft, who are still doing them consistently and doing them well. So... But I think people give them a lot of slack. Like, people who like RPGs joke about all the weird glitchy errors you find in things like Oblivion and Skyrim and the Fallout games. I mean, if CD Projekt Red had cows randomly appearing on roofs of buildings, they'd get crucified. But when it happens in a Bethesda game, people go, lol, Bethesda, wacky Bethesda, and it gets an amusing screenshot and 1 million upvotes on Reddit.
I love Bethesda games for that, though.
Yeah, exactly. It's great. So I think that people are willing to give them another chance. I certainly am. I will be getting the download, the new Wastelanders expansion when it comes, and I'll be playing it. And look, it might be terrible. It might be, radioactive garbage that slaps us all in the face. But I think it's also just as likely that it will be the game that I actually wanted the first time round. So, yeah, I think that the proof will be in the pudding, and because you can't give out pre-release copies of a game that hasn't gone live yet, I think the only way to know, for folks like yourself who are sort of mildly interested if it's any good or not, will be to wait for the DLC to drop and then read the reviews from people like me who are never wrong.
that will write at goa.com.
I mean, I'm more willing to take your say on anyone else I read on the internet, because I do in fact trust everything I read on the internet, and I am still looking for those sexy singles. They are there somewhere, I'm sure of it.
In your area?
Yeah, I'm the only one.
Have you tried the one weird trick to find those sexy singles?
Doctors hate them. Oh, the internet has ruined both of us. All right.
Yes.
Look, I popped into chat and said Fallout 4 is getting older. People Fallout fix sooner or later. If they fix Fallout 76, that can be the...
I think that's a valid point. One of the challenges Fallout 76 has is it's running on the Fallout 4 engine, which was basically the Fallout 3 and the Fallout New Vegas engine, the Gamebryo engine, I believe it is.
Yeah.
And even if it's not, it still looks like it. It was getting a bit long in the tooth for Fallout 4, and Fallout 4 was, 5 years ago now? So part of the challenge is just going to be that the game just looks dated. and not necessarily in that, a charmless, timeless way. I mean, like I said, as a fan of the Fallout games, I can look past that because that's what I expect the games to look like. But I can see how someone coming in new might be going, this game looks like it was made in 2015, because in many ways it was.
Chat says, do not mention that atrocity.
Well, I think I mentioned the war once, but we got away with it.
Good man. Awesome. Well, that's cool. I mean, yeah, I'll give it a go when it comes out, for sure.
Yeah, I will be saying things about it on GOA when it comes out. Fear not.
Cool.
And here I am taking the back seat, not worrying about Fallout, and just waiting for Elder Scrolls 6, just twiddling my thumbs.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Well, the sooner they get the Fallout stuff out of the way, yes, just give the DLC, make the updates, do what you have. You can focus. Just one other thing.
I mean, Elder Scrolls 6 is a very strange way of saying new Fallout game.
So it's a little ironic that the game that's given them the most Fallout is called Fallout. Like, kind of, they should have seen this coming. But no, absolutely. I'll give anything a go once, and if the reviews come back saying yes, you must try this, it is groundbreaking, then shit, sledgehammer me up. I'm about to break some ground, so let's do this. Awesome.
Remember, we did give Fallout 76 95% on. So.
Who's we, Kimasabi?
Pete.
Who I noticed is not here to defend himself.
Under the bus.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks very much, Zulu. That's brilliant. We'll keep that in my mind for things to come very soon. So appreciate your time.
Anytime. I'm always around if you need me to talk about games and sound vaguely self-important at the same time.
You got any more of them Doom pre-review hookups, G? Yeah, just no, worth a shot. Never mind. All right,
it's worth asking, but as soon as I hear anything, I will let you know.
Appreciate that, dude. Awesome. Okay, cool. Moving on. Just looking at time. We've got about half an hour left, so that's all good. Who we got up next? The Ham Sandwich. Menthonso.
Ham Sandwich himself.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know the reference, go back and watch the tournament VOD. Trust me, it's worth it.
Or even just some of the
highlight
clips.
Yeah,
the highlight clips, yeah. Preferably the tournament VOD, so you can see all my 8 hours worth of effort, and not just 30 seconds, but whatever you want. What have you got for us, Menthonso?
Now, before we start, I did notice something in chat that Arion brought up.
Mm-hmm.
I just mentioned, I wonder if there are any people who are involved with that game, i.e. Elder Scrolls 6, that know anything about it in this chat currently. Now, I'm not going to say anything, but Arion, if you want to pipe up and put something in chat, by all means, and I'm happy to read it out. But there is something there that I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about or not, so it's down to him if he wants to say something. Now, my news, a little bit different. The new World of Warcraft raid came out last week, called Nyalotha. Now, as with every new WoW raid over the past God knows how many expansions, there's always a race to get the world first clear of the raid on Mythic difficulty. For this expansion, the guild by the name of Method, they're a very large esports organization. They sponsor streamers. They have teams for almost every esports game there is. They have been leading majority of this expansion, getting world firsts for majority of the raids bar one. At this point in time, there are four guilds that are on the final boss of the raid, and they've been raiding every single day, 8, 9, 10, 12-hour days for 7 days straight, playing this one raid, which, I mean, I don't think I have the stamina to be able to do that, but to be fair, these guys do get paid big money for it. Sponsorships and all that kind of stuff kind of come into account for individual raiders as well, as opposed to just the entire organization.
I think I jumped onto one of the streams and they were at something like run 168, and the best that team had done was 25.2% on the final boss.
Yeah,
so they are going for it.
They're doing like 150, 200 plus pulls now. The best attempt, I think, is 25.2 or 25-ish%. And that's actually by Method's main competition, which a guild's called Complexity Limit. We're actually a join of two different guilds. Now, in more recent time, they've actually started live streaming these events, and any donations and whatnot, they pick a particular charity to donate this money to, which is awesome. how it used to be done in the past, it was all secretive. They obviously didn't want anyone to know their strategies, so they could keep them to themselves. But now being able to live stream it, they're actually being able to donate money towards a charity. So at the moment, I think Method are doing it towards the Save the Children charity, which is a worldwide charity. It's not region specific. And I think their aim is 40,000. They're just over 30,000 at the moment. So in a week, 30,000. Well, I think it's like $32,000 raised. It's actually pretty good for just people chilling out and watching WoW. So it'll be interesting to see how that all turns out. The new so each week, obviously the raids reset. So the reset was last night. So everything goes back to square one. They've got to clear the whole raid again to try and get progression on this last boss. But yeah, like I said, to go a full 7 days, 8, 9, 10 days, just raiding one raid, playing one character, doing the same thing over and over, I know I'd pull my hair out. You really have to have the dedication to be able to do it.
You'd hate working in IT then.
Yeah. So, what do we have here? Ariond in chat, cough, voice actor and junior game dev next year for Bethesda, cough.
Yeah. For real?
Yeah, that's a thing. That's happening. You have no idea how excited I am. Maybe you do. That's actually really cool. So obviously there'll be a bit more news on that to come. It's probably under, not NDA, but don't go blurting it to the world. But yeah, so hopefully that's something cool. Someone in our community that's linked to a Bethesda game. Infernox, what's the longest raid boss kill timer? Do you mean as in how long has it taken a guild to kill a boss, or do you mean how long a boss fight's actually taken? That'd be interesting to find out. Yeah, that's kind of it from me for WoW. It only comes around every couple of months, the race to World First, so it's I'm not really into WoW anymore. I know Flexi, you've gotten a bit more into it.
Yeah.
But more recently, I kind of jump in when the World First race comes on and just chuck it in the background and watch along. It's nice background noise.
Screaming zombies and Martians and shit screaming. Awesome background noise.
Yeah. Just a question on Inferno. Longest raid boss kill timer. So he's asked that in relation to what's the longest it's actually taken a guild to down a boss. I think it was back in the Burning Crusade days. It was probably 35 to 40 days before a guild actually killed Illidan, which was the almost the last boss of that expansion. Whereas nowadays they're clearing raids in like 7-8 days from them being released. So back in those days, it was more people didn't really have sponsorships. They weren't big organizations that they are today. So they weren't getting paid for what they were doing. Now they can obviously dedicate a lot more of their time towards it.
154 days in Vanilla WoW for Rag.
Oh, okay. There you go. Damn, son.
Yeah, so...
And here I am remembering when the time when the hacker killed Lord British and Ultima Online was major news.
No, that's old school.
More like Illa don't. Jesus Christ. Get that guy a dad so he can have more jokes, please. Well played,
that's
well
it
played.
for me.
Awesome. Well, thanks very much, dude. That's I can agree. I've been watching some of it side by side. It's quite interesting seeing their strats and how they play it. But then again, I mean, you're right. The amount of money that comes into it going to a good cause is fantastic for just watching people play video games. I mean, without that, we wouldn't be here doing what we do on Twitch. Well, half the people wouldn't be here doing what we do on Twitch. It's quite insane, but awesome at the same time because we get to help those that wouldn't necessarily be able to be helped. Excellent. Who's up next? We have Camp Mum, Team Mum, Skittles, to remind us about an upcoming thing, to congratulate people on a certain thing, and to announce a thing. So, a number of things.
I have all of the things.
Go for it. What have you got for
The
us?
first thing, well, I'll keep on the theme of raising money for bushfires. Obviously, GOA is doing toss a coin to your Twitcher all of this month. All of our Twitch revenue will be going to the Smith family.
Down here in the
they
corner.
will not be donating directly to individuals that specifically lost houses, but they will be working with those that are destitute or live below the poverty line at the moment, and those kids that would already be facing disadvantage to get back to school. So my family did lose houses in the fires, and they had 5 kids that they had to manage to get themselves back to school, uniformed and school booked up. So the Smith family will be doing a lot of work with those communities that so the kids don't fall further behind, and education is a key to breaking the cycle. So hopefully we are at, I think, just over $200 so far, just out of Twitch revenue. So anyone's got any bits or things they want to cheer would be great. And in other great news, our friends at World of Tanks have hosted a silent auction and 8-hour Blazeaid stream with the World of Tanks APAC team, and they set themselves a goal of $10,000. And within the first hour, they met it. And by the end of the stream, they had raised over $90,000.
$90K.
That is
For the
just
Australian bushfires. So they had players from Australia, New Zealand, Japan, China, Singapore, South Korea, Taiwan, and the rest of Southeast Asia, all participating purely on donated time, and for those that actually purchased during the stream. So massive congratulations to World of Tanks.
Can we get some G's in chat for them, please, everyone?
That they have managed to do within their community. So one player alone donated $5,000 to just a single one of their players. So it was some incredible generosity from the for the team, and hopefully Blazeaid will go to some custom trailers, kilometres of fencing, sheds, and fodder for livestock that have all been just as affected out in the farming world. And then the second thing I have is super exciting. We always love things at GOA. Our friends have given us 2 copies of Zombie Army 4 to give away.
Which is really good. Really good.
Which, funnily enough, I think someone has reviewed GameOnOz.com to read it. So we have a pinned post on our Facebook page, and we've got some tweets going, and we've got some stuff going on across our socials. Go and let us know your favourite B-grade zombie movie, and we will win it this Friday. So make sure you head over and get that done. And the last thing I think I had was our God Mode meetup is well underway. We're getting everything locked in. I will be there in Perth, ready to say hello to as many people as I can. And that's about it. If you haven't got your ticket yet, make sure you go buy it from Eventbrite and come along and say hello to everybody.
That's the one. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make it, even though my name is on the event. On Eventbrite. You did?
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I tried to.
Sad.
Yeah, I tried to show my wife, going, see, look, they even announced me as going. She's like, it just can't happen. I'm like, but people.
We'll just unannounce you.
You just unannounced me like my parents tried to 30 years ago. It's fine. I'm used to it. No, they never tried to do that. Anyway, that's enough depression for one stream. So now some less depression. I have an announcement to make. As the newly appointed GOA tournament coordinator / manager, I'm still waiting for that title to take over in Discord, Skittles / Pete.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I'm just pulling your chain. It's okay. I know you're busy. I am going to announce the next tournament now. For those of you who were very clever in seeing the blatantly obvious hint that was there, the next tournament is in fact going to be a Hearthstone tournament. And if you were able to put 2 and 2 together, or by 3 and 3 together, you would have noticed that the numbers on the card indicated the date of 3/7/20. Or was it 7/3/20? No, either way, 7th of March 2020. So
I proofed it and I didn't even think.
yeah, and did you get the other hint in the background?
I did get the background hint. I didn't get the date.
Okay, cool. Yeah, the date. There you go. It's in there, little subtle hint for you. So those of you who play Hearthstone or are thinking of getting into it, dust off your decks or unpack your decks and get them ready. There'll be an official announcement coming with our new tournament platform that I have actually been able to talk to one of the guys who works for them. The platform's based out of Vancouver, and one of the guys who works there is actually from New Zealand, who lives in Vancouver for it, who I've been talking to on the inside, so he's been helping us out. So that'll be coming the next couple of days. I'll announce that properly. Now, we were going to have. We thought we were going to run out of time, but we've actually got quite a bit of time. So, do we have Skittles the BQ?
Bravo, Quebec.
Yes.
I do, as a matter of fact. Here,
Do we have some more phonetic alphabet things?
I do want to hear you say deck just about 5 more times.
Yeah, is it going to be a multi-deck thing?
You can eat a massive deck.
Custom
What if
deck?
do I get to bring like a big deck, or are they small decks? Or,
Perhaps
like, I
a
don't know,
family-sized
half
bag of decks?
You bring whatever size deck you can fit in your pocket, okay? How does that sound? Whatever makes you comfortable and makes you happy, bring that deck.
I've never really been a fan of decks. I prefer shooting games.
Jesus, okay, that took a turn.
I don't have a big question ready, so if anyone... I'm moving way on.
You've cooked me. You've absolutely ruined me. Try to keep a professional
if
composure
anyone-
for this, and now we're talking about decks.
Lawman's back. Hey, do you have a big question for the podcast? What? We noticed you. It's really hard not to.
You're being
You would
called
like
out.
to-
Now's your time to shine. We want to.
Throw out a big question.
We are taking suggestions from the floor, ladies and gentlemen. This is your golden opportunity.
Oh, we've broken reflex.
Welcome to Rogue Sultana, another one of our beautiful stream team, the unbeaten one.
Sorry.
who has
Well,
walked in
yeah.
right at the best time.
Yeah, hello Rogue, welcome to the channel. At least you didn't turn up to my channel at the time I was announcing my hospital visit and how that all went down. But that's all good, that's for an off-stream thing. Except on my channel where it's definitely on. But, anyway, do we have a question? Fucking hell, you've actually
Yes,
broken me.
do we have a question?
Do we have a question? A big question for the week. From somewhere in chat. Arian's question is, that reminds me, I can do a Shaggy impression. That's not a question, that's a statement.
It wasn't me.
It's also interesting that he could do a Shaggy impression in chat. Like, I'd want to see you type that.
Oh, shit. Just don't be a dick about it. Oh, for Christ's sake. Alright, well, I might. I might
I had the decency to lose my New Zealand accent. You've got no excuse.
Hang on, hold on. What do you mean, lose?
Well, I'm from New Zealand originally.
You're not the only one, Flexi. How's it make you feel?
Is everybody ready for this?
At least I know how my deck works.
Go wing!
Thank you.
Sorry, guys.
Wing.
It was either going to be you or me that does it. It was either going to be you or me, so well played.
I'm
Okay.
polite for a little while.
We have a question, a big question from the floor from Arians98. If we want to take,
What's the question? Oh, actually, yeah, that's a good question.
I actually quite like that. That is good.
That is all right.
So I also like Edgy Mate's suggestion. Menthonso did it a cappella last time.
That's right. I can do a cappella again. I just need to get the song up.
Good, because I can't. My balls are way too low.
well, Arian's question for those of you who
Wait,
are.
we have to sing the intro, Zulu.
Yeah, hold on.
Do it.
We got to get the.
Okay, well, I am legally prohibited by several international treaties from singing, so I will leave that to you.
What the hell have you done?
I should...
In fact, you know what? Leave that there. It's fine. It's fine. That's fine. All right, come on, Menthonso. Dust off them pipes.
I gotta find the song. Give me.
Swab
We're
the
not doing
dick.
the
Dust
new
them
one, are
pipes. We got this.
Yeah, new one.
Of course.
It just takes such good timing. They can't even time it in here. Look.
Hey, I'm just going to check on some elevator music while we wait.
Yeah, talk amongst yourselves.
There you go. Elevator music.
Yeah, Zulu, it's a Geneva Convention. But...
No.
you sing?
Several conventions. We've got the Geneva Convention, we've got the Hague Convention, which is that fun one that prohibits the use of dum-dum and expanding rounds of military small arms, and I'm sure there's several other treaties I haven't been fully appraised of that have declared my singing to be a war crime in some jurisdictions. So I'm going to leave my terrible off-tune caterwauling somewhere else that won't get us in trouble with people who appreciate sound, and let you guys do the singing.
Your ability with
just
speech
said
is
no.
fantastic. By the sounds of it, you've been through enough court casings and hearings to... You speak very cleanly for an ex-war criminal.
Now, those charges were never proven.
Ah, yes. Yes, of course. And prison's just a room.
It's annoying. The only version I can find is with Queen singing over the top of it.
Well, oh, you better believe you can crack that eye. Zulu can break a perfectly good mirror at 600 yards. Singing, that is.
If it gets below 300, that's bayonet fighting range.
Oh my god. Oh shit.
Your voice strikes me as such a non-violent man, but the words that come out are so
Yeah, no, that is not a non-violent man's voice. That is someone who's been there
That's all
and
part
back
of the
again.
appeal.
Yeah, didn't Hannibal speak like that as well?
Did we find something, Menthonso? Did we just
I
get back
get
to
the feeling
sex?
Zulu could be a cult leader if he wanted to.
Could be.
I'd follow him. Look, with that voice.
I'm just gonna have to use the Queen version and just work over the top of it. It's fine.
Just
Go
sing
for it.
really loud.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Okay, let's get this going.
Oh.
Big, 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 big question. It's the big question. It doesn't look the same with the Queen music. It's fun.
Was that
Yay.
like the Rick and Morty cut?
Doesn't work the same if you don't have the instrumental version. That's fine. It doesn't matter. I tried. Okay.
I loved it. It's perfect. It's exactly what we needed a team takeover.
Okay. So,
Like,
question.
we're not great, but we're not shit.
We get by. So the big question for this week has gone somewhere up the chat because everyone was shit talking for a while.
Big question for next week.
Where's it
Yeah,
gone?
big question for
Oh, there it
next
is.
week.
From Arion.
Thanks to Arion. Yes, indeed.
What defines a good RPG? Right, so that's the
Now-
question.
Take of that what you will. It could be combat. It could be RPG, like the actual role-playing aspects. Could be anything.
Traditionally, it's man portability and the ability to penetrate the armor of a T-34 tank at up to 300 yards, and the availability of spare rocket-propelled grenades. This is why the Soviet RPG-7 is such a ubiquitous anti-tank weapon in
This
various
is why
parts.
I have a master nuke button.
Who the fuck are we talking with?
I've got my hammer. I've got my hammer ready.
Are we on a list somewhere now? I feel like we're on a list somewhere.
If you are, you'll be keeping me company.
Jesus. Okay, cool. So what makes a good role-playing game and not a war tool? I'm sorry, that was fantastic. Someone clipped that. That was brilliant. I need a new ringtone, and I think that's it.
That is funny.
Um,
So yeah, we'll get Dan to put that up on the Facebook page, and that will be addressed next week.
Well, does anyone have an
is-
answer?
Yes, answers on the back of a postcard to the usual address, which is our email address, and our Facebook page, and the social medias. Did I say that right? The social
Yes.
medias?
Yeah.
The
You got
face
there.
tubes.
This man has
I
been
don't
in
know,
more
what-
rebel movements than we know. Jesus.
How many do you know
what is
about?
everyone's favorite RPG?
New Zealand's favourite RPG.
Everyone's.
Everyone.
Oh, everyone. Sorry, I thought you said New Zealand's. I was like, oh, well, don't mind if I do. And in fact, I don't. So, never mind. Does it have to be limited to RPG? Could it be an MMO RPG? Because
No, it still technically counts as an RPG.
All right, well, in that case, WoW, for me, personally.
Yeah, but what makes it good? It's not just what is your favorite RPG.
Oh, well,
that's
what makes
that's the whole point of the big question. What makes the RPG good?
it...
It's not the medium question.
The lore, I think, for me, is a big thing. The fact that it covers off more than just the story of World of Warcraft. It also covers off the entire history and, in some cases, the future. So, personally for me, it would be, World of Warcraft and its lore.
Yeah, that's actually fairly valid, because the lore in WoW, I mean, it spans back, now 20 years.
Yes.
They literally have someone. Yeah, they literally have someone at Blizzard HQ whose job it is to keep track of all this stuff, which would be
100%.
awesome.
I think they've actually needed to employ a second one, just because there's that much that happens, and the fans pick apart the lore. Like, I mean, it's WoW fans. You're gonna expect fanatics. They
Good old
literally
red
pick
shirt
apart
guy,
the lore, and exactly, and find like the tiniest little detail that just overlaps in the wrong way, and just blast up about it. So they literally need people to be able to turn around and go, actually, you're wrong, and this is how it works.
Actually. Yep. We all know that meme.
Actually, .gif.
Yep.
Is it Absy in our team or Tidget that is like a lore? Like they could write the WoW lore books.
Wow. That's quite impressive.
There's someone in our team that has just gone so far down the rabbit hole. They'd be like, oh no, and then on this day, this person did this. It's like, well, they're not real, but good. Good that you know that.
Yeah, tell me what happened in 1945. I don't know this. Okay.
Which date in 1945?
Yeah.
Not you, Zulu. We already know that you know way too much about some things regular
I
people
don't think I've played an RPG since Oblivion.
Yeah, but that's because you literally got sucked into Oblivion and,
I
lost
really
days.
did. A big part of me is still there. I feel like I bring it up enough that it's kind of like I never really turned that. I'm sure somewhere in console heaven is my Oblivion save.
Hang on. Captain Avari says, and then you kick a chicken and it all goes to shit.
But enough about his week.
Okay, so in context to that, you need to go back to his previous message.
Oh, right, okay.
I think a good RPG is where you feel attached to the characters you play and those around you. When you feel sad your NPC dies or your protagonist gets sick. And then follow on with, and then you kick the chicken and it all goes to shit.
Gotcha.
Which everyone can relate to. Don't kick the chickens. Rule number one.
Regardless
yes, it's much
of
better
game.
if you pimp and backslap them. It's much more fast.
Much more effective too, I hear.
Seriously though, do not abuse animals by smacking them, hitting them, or kicking them.
Unless they hit you
I
first.
think the only time you don't get stabbed in the eyes.
My friend Todd is here to tell you to buy Skyrim.
Oh boy.
Do you get discounts from Bethesda?
We're rambling on now.
Yeah, look, we're filling time. What we're doing.
Okay, if we're gonna fill time, I'm just gonna pipe in with the last bit of information.
Oh, please.
If you haven't played it before, you feel like having your heart ripped out of your chest, stomped on, thrown back into you, and then forced to cry.
Get married.
Pay good money for that.
No, go play Rhyme.
Don't.
I've had multiple people over the past, 12, 18 months of me owning this game tell me to play it. I've always put it off. I never thought that much into it. Went through, played it, and I can honestly say no game at its credits has had me sobbing like a little girl than Rhyme has. I was literally lying down on my bed, just sitting there watching the credits roll, thinking, what the actual hell has just happened, and why am I crying?
I was one of the first to recommend it.
Oh, yeah,
and
you were.
I have to say,
Skittles,
for anyone in chat or anyone listening, do not look it up. Just play it. Don't spoil the story.
No, don't spoil anything. Don't look up guides. Just literally sit down and enjoy and play through it.
Yeah, Rogue obviously has played it. I actually finished it and just turned my console off at the closing scenes, and my partner asked if I was sobbing, and I was like, yes, it's fine.
No, you're crying. What?
And I didn't turn my console back on for 3 months, and when I did, I turned it back to the closing scene and cried for a little bit more.
Well, I'm a sucker for punishment. I literally finished it, was crying, walked out into the lounge room, and the wife looks at me and goes, have you been crying? I'm like, yes. Because of Rhyme, you're going to play it now, and I'm going to sit down and watch you. So I watched her play the whole thing again in one night, and I cried again.
Yeah.
How long is the game?
Oh, you can get through it in like 3-4 hours tops if you literally just play it. And
there's a stream game.
I dragged it out. I took 8 hours because I did all the, like, what's this? And I'm going over here. And I'm this thing, and I'm going to touch that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
yeah.
If you feel like a sob, play it. If you think you're a big burly muscly guy that doesn't cry to stupid games, I can tell you right now, this game is going to make you cry. I don't care who you are. If this game doesn't make you cry or at least feel a little bit emotional, I don't know. Are you human?
You can't be friends.
Yeah.
I may or may not have just bought it.
Yeah, you'll enjoy it, 100%. I expect feedback from you. We all expect feedback from you after you finish it.
Just watch
The
my
only
stream.
thing I'll say is you have to
cry.
allow it to be an immersive experience. You have to. There's no distraction.
Yeah.
Phone. You can't have you've got to let the soundtrack be there, and you have to be present in the game.
Beautiful game. It's an odd art style, but the art style and the music just pair so well together. And the only thing I'm going to say is the thing that got me over the edge at the very end of the game, Skittles, was the music. Listening to that music, just that's what hit me in the feels.
Yeah, it's difficult though because it did break me for games for quite some time. I sort of bounced from game to game. I can't really spend 10 minutes playing something because nothing grabbed me the same way.
Yeah.
Like that was sort of I'm in and I'm stuck and I cannot get out and I have to finish this game to see what happens. I remember getting halfway through the story and turning to my partner and having a revelation and going, oh my god, I think this is happening. And he's like, oh, that's weird. And I was like, no, it's not. It's really, I have to talk to someone about it.
Arion does not have videos of me crying. Wait, do you?
Don't you worry.
Georgia.
No, she doesn't have videos of me crying. I purposely made sure I went into a different room when I finished it.
I meant
Flexi's Georgia.
There's too many.
Yeah, and now fucking Adsy's brought one in as well.
Yeah, I
know.
saw that.
God damn. They're replicating. Also doesn't help that my ex-girlfriend's name was Georgia too. Like, Jesus.
On that note too, as well, for those that don't know, Adsy is one of the GOA team. He gave birth, his wife gave birth to a lovely daughter the other day.
Yes.
Yay! Congrats.
It's wonderful.
Congrats to Adsy.
Congrats to Adsy. G's and chat again.
Yep, cheese and chat.
Okay, I think we're up to our last couple of minutes, so I will commence the outro. Bye. No, I'm just kidding. Just a big reminder of things we covered off tonight. The Warcraft 3 Reforged history, Fallout 76 coming soon. We met our boys straight, just Jim, because I don't want to get punched in the head. Our resident ham sandwich, Menthonso, with the sneaky World of Warcraft information. Skittles reminding you about the upcoming event on, was it February 22nd?
Yes.
Good chat. And congratulating Wargaming on their $90,000 donation for charity. And of course our Zombie Army 4 giveaway. Information on that is on our socials. And also keep in mind, coming in the next couple of days, keep an eye on Game on Oz Gombode for the official Hearthstone tournament and how you can sign up and get involved with that. And of course, as always, I have been Reflex. We have had Skittles, Jim, Zulu, Menthonso. Sorry, straight Jack Jim. I'll be nice. And myself, wishing you a fantastic week of gaming. And of course, what do?
Don't forget
We don't forget
Bloody
to say.
love gaming.
Those
And we
two.
don't leave because I'm still streaming. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and
We
of
all
course,
stick around to watch
stick
Menthonso.
around. Because
You don't have to go home, but you're quite welcome to stay here.
Just don't come into my house and watch it from here. That'll be fucking weird. Because none of you know where I live. Okay, Menthonso can. As long as he brings more ham sandwiches. Because I'm fucking hungry, man. I can do with a ham sandwich. Alright, good chat, everyone. Cheers for hanging out. Fantastic podcast. And we will see you all next week. Good evening.
Bye.
Bye.
How do I end this? This one.